Hello friends, today I am talking about the Ecomark Scheme of India. The issues of environmental protection, they has brought the consumers, the industrial organizations as well as government to come together and to have the solutions that all they can play together to protect the environmental resources of our society. The government bodies as well as the legislatures, they are using their ways to reduce the environmental impacts, especially due to the industrial activities and especially to go ahead for the ideal development. That sustainability, the whole world is talking nowadays. So we all are aware that environment is under tremendous stress because of population growth, rapid industrialization, unplanned urbanization activities, changing lifestyle and consumption patterns, and it is very clear that government or government authorities cannot do alone, cannot protect the environment and control the pollution problems that our societies are facing. What we need is a proactive approach, promotion of role of all, and to have a common strategy for environment. Now this is the time, especially for the consumers, to take a lead, and that's the scheme I am going to talk about it. So to adopt clean and eco-friendly technologies, so environment friendly, safe disposal of used products, and have preventive and mitigative approaches. So to increase the consumer awareness, the government of India has launched eco-labeling scheme that is known as Ecomark in 1991 for easy identification of the products which are eco-friendly, environment-friendly, which have less impact on the environment. So any product which is made, used or disposal in a way that significantly reduces the harm it would otherwise cause on the environment, so that are considered as eco-friendly, environment-friendly product. So generally what I am saying here, it follows the cradle to grave approach from the raw material purchase, extraction, its use till manufacturing, and at the end what happens after its disposal of the product. The Ecomark label is awarded to consumer goods so which meet the specified environmental criteria and the quality requirements as per the Indian standards. So any product with Ecomark will be the right environmental choice for the consumers, for the people to purchase it. There are certain objectives of the scheme to provide an incentive for manufacturers and importers to reduce the adverse environmental impact because of their products, to reward genuine initiatives that are started by different companies in order to reduce the adverse environmental impacts, then to assist consumers become more environmentally aware, more environmentally responsible in their day-to-day lives, and provide information to them about the environmental factors while purchasing the product. Another objective is to encourage the citizens, people of this society to purchase products which have less harmful impact on the environment, and ultimately to improve the quality of the environment and to encourage sustainable management of the resources of the raw materials in manufacturing, its use and end life after its use. Ecomark logo I'll say here an earthen pot has been chosen as the logo for the Ecomark scheme in our country. The familiar earthen pot, it uses the renewable resources like earth, does not produce hazardous waste and consume little energy in making. Its solid and graceful form represents both strength and fragility, which is also a characteristic of the ecosystem, nature. So as a symbol, earthen pot, it put across its environmental message. Its image has the ability to reach people and can help to promote a greater awareness, need to be kind to the environment. The logo for the Ecomark scheme, it signifies that the product which carries, it does the least damage, impact on the environment. Now I will tell you about the mechanism of the scheme. There are committees which are associated with criteria for development for each product category and award of the Ecomark. A steering committee set up in the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. Now it is in the past MOEF. It determines the product categories for coverage under scheme and also formulate the strategies for promotion, implementation, future development and improvements in the working of the scheme, the Ecomark scheme, eco-labeling scheme. Then they determine the product categories to be taken up under this scheme. They create mass awareness for promotion and acceptance of the scheme through various ways, various media. Again, the steering committee formulates strategies for the future development of the scheme, which is started by Government of India in 1991. Next committee, second, it is technical committee set up in Central Pollution Control Board. It identifies a specific product to be selected and the individual criteria to be adopted, including wherever possible the priority between the criteria if there be more than one. The technical committee identifies specific products for classifying as eco-friendly products or environmental friendly products. They also set up subcommittees for each product category if required and to draft the Ecomark criteria. It is technical committee. Again, they recommend most appropriate criteria and parameters to designate various products as eco-friendly. They review from time to time the implementation of the scheme by Bureau of Standards, BIS. Another important part, I will say here, that Central Pollution Control Board of our country, CPCB, which is a central agency monitoring and controlling pollution control related activities, so has become the member of Global Eco-Labeling Network, GEN, since March 2000. Another part is that role of Bureau of Indian Standards. They assess and certify the products and draw a contract with the manufacturers, allowing the use of label on payment of certain fees. Again, identify specific products, set up subcommittees for each product category, again if required, and recommend most appropriate criteria as eco-friendly is. It also comes under their task. Then what is criteria for Ecomark? The criteria are based on the cradle to grave approach, start to end, birth to end, from raw material extraction to manufacturing and till the disposal. We want minimal impact on environment. The basic criteria cover broad environmental levels and aspects, but these are specific at product level. A product is examined in terms of environmental impacts. So 100 products, 100 criteria based on impacts on the environment. That they have substantially less potential for pollution than other comparable products in production, usage and disposal. That these products, they are recycled, recyclable, made from recycled products, or they are biodegradable as compared with other products. Another criteria that such products make significant contribution to save non-renewable energy resources, including non-renewable energy resources and resources as compared with other products. Another criteria is that the product must contribute to reduce the adverse primary criteria, which has the highest environmental impact associated with the use of product and will be specifically said for each of the product categories. Then what are the general product requirements? I will tell you here. The general requirements, they deal with the issues of compliance of pollution control acts, raising environmental awareness among consumers, in addition to safety, quality, performance of the products. So these specific product specific requirements are that the issues have been taken in account under production process, including source of raw materials, they use natural resources, they have likely impact on the environment, energy conservation in production of the product, the practices are well followed, the disposal of the product and its container, package, again utilization of waste and recycled materials, suitability for recycling or packaging, biodegradability, effect and extent of the waste arising from the production process, Ecomark criteria for the product category as already set under this scheme. So such things are considered as part of product criteria. The government of India has by now notified the final criteria for 16 product categories, 16, and these are like soaps and detergents, paper, food items, lubricating oils, even oils, they also get Ecomark or Eco label, packaging materials, architectural paints and powder coatings, batteries, even batteries also get Ecomark. Understand, try to understand what is this scheme and how it is applicable. Electronic goods, food additives, wood substitutes, cosmetics and aerosol propellants also get Ecomark or Eco label. Plastic products also, textiles, fire extinguishers, leathers. So these are the product categories which have been finalized. The criteria for them have been finalized. Now I will tell you about how to obtain the license to use Ecomark. The procedure for grant of a license by Bureau of Indian Standards under the scheme of Ecomark shall be the same as applicable for the grant of license by BIS under its product certification marks scheme, just like ISI mark. A prescribed application form, it is available from the BIS headquarters, or also available in regional or the branch offices which are located in different regions, cities of our country, and can be obtained from any of the office of the bureau. And there is no fees at present for the application form, to collect the application form. Then application on the prescribed form duly completed with the requisite fee, which is at present just only 500 rupees in the form of demand draft, and it should be drawn in favor of Bureau of Indian Standards, payable at the place where the application is to be submitted, regional office. So maybe sent to the respective office of the bureau for receipt, acknowledgement, and further necessary action. So an application, one application form is valid only for one product and one Indian standard specification only. Okay, so for each Indian standard and each product, a separate application with requisite fee has to be submitted towards office of the bureau. So each application under the scheme of Ecomark shall be accompanied with a copy each of the documents, namely the consent or environmental clearance certificate from the concerned state pollution control board. This is required. Small scale industries registration certificate if the application is from a small scale unit who desires to avail the concessional rate of marking fee for the unit for small scale sector. So on receipt of the completed application form, what happens? The bureau arranges a preliminary inspection of the unit of the applicant on mutually convenient date for preliminary inspection and assessment of the manufacturing and quality control facilities and availability of the testing personnel with the applicant for satisfactory operation of BIS certification mark scheme. How it happens, how it goes, whether it is in proper form or not. The inspection officers of the bureau draw samples for factory testing and independent testing for assessing the conformity of the product with requirements given as per specification, including requirements for the Ecomark. The applicant is given a copy of scheme of testing and inspection, STI, so which is required to be followed by the unit in production for the product covered under the application. The applicant is to give formal consent in writing regarding acceptance of the STI and also the marking fee payable for the product. Okay, the charges for inspection and testing of the samples is independent. In independent laboratory shall be paid by the applicant. This is condition. The preliminary inspection report, independent test reports of the samples drawn during PI, preliminary inspection, and acceptance of STI and marking fee schedule, they are verified at appropriate level with the Bureau. In case of all documents are complete and found satisfactory, a license is granted by the competitive authority of the Bureau, permitting the unit to use the standard mark of the Bureau for a specified period. In case a unit is already holding a BIS certification, a mark, a license for a product, and wishes to cover that product under the scheme of Ecomark, separate application is not required to be submitted towards Bureau office. So in such case, what happens, the unit may make a specific request to the respective BIS office, which will take steps to include the criteria for Ecomark on the product as per existing provision for inclusion of new varieties or grades in the same license. The license has to accept the modified STI and revised rate of marking fee. So fee is important for government. Under the scheme of Ecomark, the standard mark of the Bureau shall be single mark, being a combination of the ISI mark and the Eco logo. The license is granted initially for a period of 1 year, which is renewable for a period of 2 years at the time subsequently on the basis of performance of the unit in preceding years. So performance is checked at the time of renewal. The minimum marking fee applicable to the product and accepted by the applicant is payable to the Bureau in advance after the grant of license, but before the initiation of the marking on the product. So on calculation of the marking fee payable at the end of the year, the calculated amount along with minimum marking fee is required to be paid to the Bureau by the applicant along with his request for renewal of the license for further period. So during the period of validity of license granted to a unit, the Bureau arranges a periodic unannounced visits to the manufacturing process of the licensee to assess the operation of the BIS certification mark scheme for the product. What is going on? How is it going on? What's the actual status, ground condition? Samples are drawn by BIS officer at the time for testing, both in the factory as well as for the independent testing to verify conformity of the product in accordance with the requirements specified in the relevant Indian standard. The feedback received in this case from the consumer forums, organizations are also taken into account for assessing the performance of the licensee. So views from society, suggestions from the people, consumers are also checked well. If BIS officer observed deviation from the requirements of the standard and the scheme of testing and inspection STI, the same is brought to the notice of the licensee to take corrective measures in case of discrepancy of serious nature, non-compliance with the provision of the grant of the license. Appropriate action is taken, and that is as per Bureau of Standards Act of 1986 rules and relevant regulations, which are updated, amended time to time. Now, what is the fees? Again, I will tell you, fees that I am going to tell you about are required to be paid to the Bureau of Indian Standards for obtaining the Ecomark So application fee of rupees 500 per application. So 2 products, 2 applications, 500 into 2, which is non-refundable. Testing charges of the independent laboratories for the samples drawn prior to the grant of license. So they are as per product. Annual license fee is at the rate of 500 per license. Renewal application fee at the rate of rupees 300 per application when a license is due for renewal. And marking fee, it is the most important fee. We have talked about it that applicant has to pay depending upon the quantum of the annual production of the license. It's over. Thank you very much for being here. Bye bye.